Have you been thinking that you are too busy to take on a VA or that having a VA is such a big expense to your company? Then you need to listen to this episode. And right now, we're in a very special series where we're talking about VAs, virtual assistants, as it's one part of my business. And it's something that people have a lot of questions around. So I have a good friend here with me today, someone you need to get to know, Miss Tanya Steele. Hey, Tanya.
Yay! Hello. So thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Oh, well, thank you. And some of you might have seen our escapades as we went 3 weeks around Japan and the Philippines and Bali. And during that time, I got to hear a little bit more about how Tanya's VA has been working in her business. And I wanted to invite her here to share a little bit more about that. But before, Tanya, can you just share a little bit more about your business, what you do, so that our listeners can get a better idea about like your business model and how a VA could possibly help?
Yeah, sure. Sounds great. I'm in safety. I'm a safety professional. And what generally I do currently is training. So majority of my business is as a safety trainer. But I've had several companies in the past, even had a company where I had 30 staff where we did a temporary placement agency of personnel. We did training, we did consulting, et cetera, so forth. And I had the opportunity to sort of sell that company in 2016, 17, something like that. And so now I just wanted to kind of go out on my own and just be a safety consultant. And I learned some stuff joining a group that we both met each other through, which is CAPS, the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. And they told me to pick a lane, and so I did. So right now I am a expert, or known as the expert of Joint Health and Safety Committee training in Canada, and I get to speak at conferences and travel and teach joint health and safety committees how they can be more effective to ensure that we send workers home in one piece. I love it.
In one piece. Wow, I never thought of how impactful that statement would be. And you also do really great MC work as well.
Yeah, that's right. So I do MC conferences as well, and I have a podcast called Safety Debris with a fellow, well, my business partner, Richard Dulong. And I also have another company that we teach instructors QA, so how to do good quality training. So if you have instructors that are in-house, so companies will have instructors that teach in their employees, and we just put in a QA program to ensure they're getting high quality training. So yeah, so I'm in my arms in a little bit of things here and there, enough that when I stopped doing my business because I wanted to just kind of chill, I didn't want to be as busy. Unfortunately, I kept getting busier. And so what was my solution? To hire a VA, a virtual assistant.
Yeah, well, let's jump into that. And listeners, please know all of Tanya's bio, links to her podcast, website, everything will be in the notes so that you can easily connect with her and check her out. So in the beginning, what motivated you to get a VA? Because I know you were crazy busy. Even for us to have a conversation in the beginning, you were like, whoa, I'm booked out like 3, 4 months, but I could squeeze you in here.
It's true.
So tell me about that.
You know, it's bad when I actually had a friend of mine, no, true story, Diane. I had a friend of mine that said, "Hey, we need to go for dinner," and I was like, "Okay, well, let's do it now. Like, let's book it right now because I know the time will come and it'll just be another 6 months."
Yeah.
And so we sat down with our calendars, and I literally booked her 4.5 months out. And she said, she looked me straight in the eye. She goes, "I'm your friend, and I have to book you 4 months out." And
And
that
that's dinner. That's
that's
outside of work hours.
that was outside of work hours. And really, that was one of the driving forces to start thinking about getting a VA, that literally my friends and my family had to make an appointment with me. And I'm like, okay, this is not cool. And so I needed to change and I need to figure it out. And so just the timing was right because just met you, or we kind of started to get to know each other about a year and a half, 2 years in or something. And it was one of the options I was thinking about because the other options were lower the amount of work I'm doing. Okay, lower my work, but then I don't get as much income because, or how do I get more passive income and how do I do these things?
Yeah.
I just need to figure out how to take some stuff off my plate and free up some time.
So in the beginning, what were some of those initial tasks that you thought, okay, these are the things, they're coming off my plate right away?
Yeah. So the biggest thing, and I think it was the easiest thing, was social media.
Ah, yeah,
Right. So I'm a Gen Xer. And so for me, social media, I do it because I need to do it. I don't want to fall behind. It's important to do it. I need to stay
yeah,
connected, right? Like people
true.
need to see my face. Like it's just the way, whether you like it or not, I needed to be in social media. And I
Yeah,
was not great. I wasn't great at it. I post like once a week, once every couple of weeks if I was lucky. And one of the things that you said is, well, hey, these VAs could actually do some of your social media posts. And so literally, I think I even start off with just the 10 hours at the beginning, so I
yeah,
wasn't sure what it was going to look like. And away he went. And I said, listen, I want you to post every day, and it has to be on this business stuff. So on my joint health and safety committee, I gave him like I have promo.com. I have a few programs that I had that because I am a video editor myself. And I know I might be talking too much. I know that for me, one of the greatest things about going through your program is that you really know what your VAs can and can't do. And
hmm
I can do lots of stuff, not to brag or anything like that. Like I love tech. I can do video editing on my own. I can do social media on my own. I can do my accounting. I took programs. Like I can do it all. It's not within my capabilities, but when I would hire somebody to do it, I'm like, I could have done that better. And so I'm like, when you introduced me to your VA and then they went through this process with you and you said, hey, I've got somebody that is just as good or better than you. And I'm like, that's what I want to pay for. Somebody who's either at least the same as me, but he
yeah,
wasn't the same. He is much better. And literally my clients were like, you're everywhere. I'm like, yes, I am. And I'm like, thanks, Diane. Thanks, Tristan. Tristan, you rock. Like I send him emails like, you making me look good, man. I appreciate you.
yeah. Well, the I'm sure if we quoted me, I did not say he's better than you.
Probably not, but he was.
But yeah, we do get the VAs to share their experience with us, their past experience, and also to rate themselves on the different platforms. And then I'm able to kind of say, well, your video is really important to you, and I think this VA would be a really good match for you in this front. Um, and even when a lot of times when the VA doesn't know something or isn't as good, there is that growth that can happen. And the great thing is it's going to be growth in the area of like how you want it done.
And,
So,
and and that's great. It's true because I saw what he was capable of doing just through the social media. And from that, I was like, oh, he's actually quite tech savvy. I can get him to do. And so, I use programs like Keep and Access Alley and just different programs. And I just said, listen, I want you to take this week, take this many hours, and I want you to learn these programs because he didn't know those exact programs, but he had a real basic understanding of sort of how these things work. And so I just paid him some time to go and review some stuff, take some courses. I sent him some online stuff. I'm like, hey, Keep has got this, this virtual training. Can you go ahead and take it? And he's like, yeah. And he did it and it was spectacular.
yeah. And so I guess that's a listeners, if you really like click into what Tanya said, she passed off the easiest thing to pass off that she was not doing to the level she wanted to do it. Social media. There you go. Take care of that. Then in that, trust was built, is what I'm hearing. Trust was built, and you started to see the skills, and then ideas were sparked. This task and this, and maybe you could do this. If you could edit that like that, then maybe you can do a promo video for me, or maybe you can do a video for the email, or something for a course we're doing, or and it just starts to spiral in the positive way of that and that and that and that and that.
Yeah, that's correct.
But let's go to kind of the impact of that. So how has having him work now, he's at 30 hours
Yeah.
with you because you kind of build it up. um how is he in his work impacted kind of the day-to-day operations of your business? We'll start there.
Yeah, it's been so there's two main points with that. The first point was is he freed up a bunch of time for me. So I was suddenly going, oh, like I don't have to now because I have an online course as well. So Joint
Mhm.
Health and Safety Committee people can take online, but I would get emails like, 24 hours. I can't log in. I've lost my user stuff. The course is jammed, or I've failed the exam and they want to reboot, and they have to pay for another course. And so I would do these emails like, no, don't worry about it. I'll reboot your program for you. And I'd be up all the time. Well, Tristan just took care of all of that, or my
Yeah.
EA took care of all of
Yeah.
that. And so I found myself now not in the evenings being on my email or having, because it's a client that's sending me an email. And so I always like to respond to
Yeah.
them very quickly. And his work hours work. So we're on different time zones, which actually really works well for me because stuff during certain times I can answer and we overlap on certain times of the day. But
Mm.
then other times he's working and I'm not. So, I woke up this morning and I had like 5 emails that he is taking care of, that I
Oh,
would normally have had to
lovely.
done either last night or this morning up early, and he did it. So this freed up more time. Now, the only bad point, and I don't know if you're an entrepreneur, I don't know if this is a bad point or a good point, but then I could do more. And so I was like, oh, now I can do more. So I would be like, okay, I can take on more courses, I can take on more training, I can do more stuff. And so my income actually went up by just under 30%. It was like 27%. My
Oh,
income went up because I was able now to do more things that actually brought in income, as opposed to the social media stuff, which of course I understand how important that is for marketing, keeping my name out, but it's not as measurable for income per se.
yeah.
It can be if you really sit down and do that, but so it made a huge, huge impact
Wow.
on my business. And I'll just say one more thing for that is when we did our trip. So me and you went on a 3-week trip, and I went a week before that with my family somewhere else. So I took a month off. I mean, listener, I have never in my entire life, I'm 55 years old, have I taken a month off of work. Like never, never, not 3 weeks. I've never done 3 weeks. I have done maybe 2 weeks every few years if I'm lucky. I'm like, let's take a weekend kind of a thing. And so I was really freaked out because normally when I take even a weekend or a week off, I am working during that time. And so I'm like, all right, let's see how we do. And I'll tell you, it was this little, like bulb that comes over your head, you get the insight kind of like, ta-da. I didn't answer because he knew I was on vacation. And so we set up a plan, and I went 2, 3 days because I know I felt pretty tired because you were still answering some emails because you had some stuff that you were having to do. I know you have
Yeah.
some EAs to support you, but you still kind of had a few things to do. And I kind of emptied my docket a bit, so I didn't have any training. And he had done everything else. So I'm just like, what am I doing? I'm by the pool. Doing what? Nothing. That,
Enjoying yourself.
yeah, enjoying myself. That impacted me so much that I was like, oh, he actually, when I'm away, like the stress was gone, Diane. I can't even tell you to know that this person is competent. He is professional with my clients. We've built the trust, as you've said. Over the years, I feed him like, hey, let's do that or that. He looks at my emails. He knows my tone of things. He checks with me on certain things. And now it's been 2 years and we've built this sort of pattern. And I had a vacation for the first time in my life in 55 years, like a true
Real
vacation.
vacation.
Yeah. So
Wow.
right. And we talk about how does it help with the money? Well, for me, it has helped with the money. It makes me more money, but for me, it's my sanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Family. I got to hang out with a friend for 3 weeks. What the?
Yep. Yep. And what you said was you came up with a plan before. And I know for me, we had the plan before, and then my excited brain started coming up with other things that I would do before I went. So yeah, I did have to record a few podcasts on vacation. But the thing is, I sat there, I recorded the podcast, and then I went to the pool. And I knew that it would be edited and taken care of by someone else. And so the same thing, if something came up for you, you could just be like, hey, can you deal with this? Because I'm by the pool and that's kind of important right now. So, but a few things I really want to highlight because you went through so much gold.
Sorry about
So,
that. I'm so excited.
not
I get so
sorry,
excited talking about it.
not sorry because you're giving gold. It's like out of like a money machine. So the one thing you were saying is around you started focusing on bringing in like more clients, more work, more offerings. So I talk a lot when I do kind of an intro to how a VA can help you is the importance of going from low impact, low quality, low income producing tasks to the high impact, high income producing, high quality tasks. So I kind of joke and I say, don't pass off work and then go organize your closet. Like you go and do things that you're passionate about that you want to do and yeah you increase by 27%. That's huge.
Oh no, it was significant. It's significant.
Congratulations, because a lot of people see a VA as an expense. I know you don't because of your background in business, but a lot of people do, and so you're showing directly that like how it's an investment in your, but the key thing is it's only an investment if you're leveraging the time. And I hear that you're leveraging the time, and that's massive. And then being able to take a vacation. And if you're like, but I don't even know how I would take it if I have all this stuff, that's what comes with the help of the VA. I even tell my VAs now, I'm like, okay, so I'm going away. What do you need from me? What do you
Nice.
need from me? And then they give me a list of the things I need to do. But let me share a little bit. We have a monthly VA call where the VAs share their wins, and your VA shared this win just last night.
Oh, oh, yay. Uh-oh, yay.
So here we go. And he has not heard this.
Okay, I have not. Oh, I'm so
No.
excited.
I've had a meaningful achievement. So oftentimes they're like, I created a really good funnel, or I edited this video and it's doing well, or I figured out this problem. But he's talking about his, you know, bigger things here. I've had a meaningful achievement. I've gained a deeper appreciation for my client's business structure. I'm becoming more involved and genuinely enjoying everything I do for her. Working alongside her is incredibly inspiring, and it warms my heart to know she values all of my efforts.
Wow. Oh, I'm a little, a
Isn't
little teary-eyed.
that lovely? Like that's the kind of stuff.
And to know, like, I mean, I've had staff in the past, and but to be able to make an impact on somebody, give them extra skills, because I'm in safety. So, these are very specific skills that he's learning. And to know that you've impacted somebody, he's a young man starting out in his career, starting to do, and that, sorry, that you can make a difference in somebody's life is just, that's just,
Yeah.
the icing and the cherry and the sprinkles all on top.
Yeah, yeah. And the cool thing is, we did go to the Philippines and you did meet him and spend a few days together, which I felt like makes it more real,
Mhm.
that they're a person because you're with them
Yeah,
together.
that's
Well,
true.
do you think like we've given a little hint at some of the things that he's helped with, so social media and video editing, but can you just give us like a list? What are some other things? Because a lot of people think, oh, email and calendar management. But give us a list. What are some things that he does for you?
He does my manuals, my student manuals. So I have courses. So he does my student manuals. I get the content. I had the manuals beforehand, but I update them because of legislation
Mm,
changes. So he updates them. He changes the content for me. I have new branding. So now he's gone through and changed all of my forms and documents with my new logo on it.
mm,
I have now new colors and new fonts. So he's now uploaded all that into Canva. So it's ready to go. He does my online course. So this is people who are having tech issues. He resets the course if we need to. People who are failing, people like, I've lost my receipt, or, oh, I've lost my certificate. When I do my in-person courses, he does all the certificates. So I send him all the names. He does a certificate, and not only does a certificate and says, here you are, Tanya, he does a certificate and then emails those certificates to my client on my behalf. And on his own, he says, oh, and he has this email, and he writes it different a little every time, which I really love. And he's like, hey, Tanya was telling me that he really enjoyed your class. And there's always one thing that he puts in the email that's specific to that client that I maybe have mentioned to him. And he's like, oh, Tanya said that
Wow.
you've really enjoyed your class, and I'm so glad. Thank you for choosing us for your course. Attaches your certificates. So literally the course is over, and I send him names, and he does all the follow-up with it. He is also currently doing my pipeline or funnel, as you know. So we're just, because I wanted to really hone in on that, because I needed to do one for years, but I don't have the time to do it. So I asked him to learn through the program that I have. So he's done some learning. I've paid him to do that, which is absolutely well worth it,
Mm-hmm.
because my time, is very expensive for me to do that. So for me to have him do that and I can bring in income to pay for both of us is a huge win for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, so he's building this pipeline now, and that will be like my email check-in, like after the student's taken a course, 30 days later, how's it going? Have you implemented this stuff? He wrote all those emails on his own. I'm like, just give me 3 touch points. I need 3 emails. These are the main purposes of the emails. And then he actually wrote each one, and they're currently sitting on my Trello board for me to approve. He's
Mm.
actually created new Trello boards for me. He does our Safety Debris podcast. He does all of the editing. He does the marketing. He uploads. So he uploads all of my videos on our Podbean, my personal videos on YouTube, our video for our podcast on our Safety Debris YouTube. So it's social media, YouTube, editing, all of that stuff, clients, follow up, certificates, manual
Cool.
writing, graphics, um, handouts for the conferences. When I asked him to do handouts, he did a bookmark for the book I was in, Trailblazers,
Yeah.
Dynamic Women Trailblazer book. And so he helped me with grad. He did little bookmarks for me. And he's like, you should have a bookmark. I'm like, yes, I should. Good idea. So I love when he comes up with some ideas and says, hey, you want to try this? I'm like, yes, I do. Thank you. I love you. Am I allowed to say I love you to a staff member? I'm not sure if that's inappropriate, but in my heart, that's how I feel.
I think with that tone and in that context, it's totally fine.
It's good. Excellent.
Totally fine. Now, not every person that I've met has success in delegating to someone else. How have you been able to really set up that effective communication, expectations, delegation, whatever you want to call it, with your VA? Because I thought the VAs would be causing all the problems, but I've noticed that sometimes the clients are causing the problems with poor instructions and poor communication. So how have you done that? How have you been able to do that?
And I think you're right, Dan. But I think that's just normal with supervisors. So I train right now, my clients or my people are supervisors, managers, and owners. That's generally who my clients are, the positions that they hold.
Yeah,
And we've talked about this for years: communication, leadership. And people will start businesses because they can do the business or the job,
the
and
technician.
they're the technician. They can show up, they do high quality work. But when it now comes to supervising somebody, that's a whole different skill. Now, what's great for me is, number one, I've had staff in the past.
Yeah,
I've had bumps through that. And so please know that it is bumpy, and it's always bumpy, because you have to learn, I had to learn different personalities. I took communication courses. I took leadership courses. I still take leadership courses. I have to take what's in my brain and be able to communicate it to somebody who has a different filters that they grew up, different
yeah,
experiences,
yeah.
different thoughts, different cultures, different language, different everything. And so it really is being clear and concise about it. Now, one of the keys, because I know that's really general, one of the keys that I started with is these Loom videos. So I would demonstrate it once and I would say, I would do up a video. And I think at the beginning, that's what it started with. Like I would either do a Zoom video or a live
Yeah.
video and teach him how to do the job or task. And so that's what we did to start with. And then
Yeah.
I was very clear when I would write, I'm like, I'm looking for this. Here's an example of what I mean. So I know that examples are important. I don't just say, figure it out. I'm like, okay, here's a video. This is an example of what I'm looking at. This is the language that I like to use. And I think
Yeah.
those were some of the keys to start off.
Yeah, so you'd be an exception to the average, maybe small business owner who's coming in and doesn't have that experience. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you if you have all that experience, why bother hiring through us? I'm going to ask you that in a moment. But for that general technician, what I'm hearing and what you said was communicate very clearly. In the beginning, use video to show what you want, give examples, and this is what I talk to people a lot is you're going to need to give a lot more instruction in the beginning until they get to know what your expectations are, your essence of your business, your brand, what you stand for, what you're expecting. So you put the work in the beginning with those clear instructions, and then the back and forth. Oh, adjust this. Oh, I forgot to say this. Oh, here's some feedback. Be very clear and honest about it in a nice way. And then eventually they're going to just know to the point where you can just WhatsApp or voice message them and be like, hey, can you make this? And they're going to know because they're going to apply everything you've kind of said before and they're going to transfer all that information to this new task.
That is
So
correct.
you you put that you put that investment of time in the beginning in small doses here and there to just get them going. And so I think that's what the listener really needs to pull from that. You don't have to be an expert. You can come into this and just adapt the way you're doing it and using the Trello boards, which is a project management platform that we set up that's actually can be free to use. So is there
And
something
it
you want to add on or
just because when you're saying that, like I hired the VA at my peak time of business. Like I had no time. Like I was going 7 days a week from morning till night. And like, how did I find the time to do those things? Well, I was doing them anyway. So as all I had to do was open Loom or open Zoom and record what I was doing already. So it really didn't add another thing onto my plate. It just added a few extra seconds or a few extra minutes on the beginning or end of a task that I was already doing. So I'm like, hey, I'm doing this task. This is one I'd like you to do. So let me walk you through it while I'm doing it. So just so you know, it wasn't like, oh, now I have to find more time to do the training. I didn't
yeah,
really find it impacted me that much. I mean, it was a little bit, but it wasn't enough
yeah,
where it would stress me out.
yeah, yeah.
I
So
do
you
understand.
were able to do it even though you had to book dinner with your friend 4.5 months out.
That's right.
Okay,
That's
good.
right.
So I think this is the key too. I hear from a lot of people, oh, I've worked with staff before. I used to be in corporate. I've had people, I've hired people before. I'll just do it myself. You ran a whole agency of hiring people, which blew me away later. I'm so glad I didn't know in the beginning. That would have super intimidated me. Um, so why bother having someone else do that step for you when you potentially could have figured it out yourself?
Thank you. And I think this is the key is a few things about that. Number one is always surround yourself with people that are going to make you bigger and better and greater and support you.
Mhm.
I've always believed that. I learned that in my 20s, and you are one of those people that I want to have in that circle that helps push me and grow me. The second thing is I can do it. I can also do video editing. I can also do my own podcasts. I can also do my own graphics, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to hire somebody else to do that for me when my priority is to grow my business and to find more time. And people say this all the time, always find people who are smarter than you and put them on your team. Yeah, that's correct because that's an investment into it. And yeah, I could have
Mhm.
done all of that stuff, but I'll tell you, Diane, what your program does that's really different, and I know you haven't asked me this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. What is different is that you have this um, not filtering. What is it? What's the word I'm looking for? When you test their skills and stuff.
We have a selection process. We have a
Selection
very
process.
our hiring process is I actually paid to learn a hiring process, and then over the course of 2 years I've refined it. And yeah, there's covert and overt tests in it. It's intense. And
Significant.
it has to be black and white though, because I wear my heart on my sleeve and I want to hire everybody and give everyone a chance.
Yeah.
And I can't.
Right. And when I ran my personnel agency, I had the same thing because always see the best in people all the time. But so when I ran my company, which of course is my baby, it was the first company that, I remember the first time I made my first $1 million. And, I mean, it was that company, and you're growing and you're like, oh, we're almost at 2 million. Like really excites your baby. But in those values to do that, one of our values was a skills test. So we would hire first aid attendants and former paramedics because we would have to put them on construction sites. And we wanted to test their skills because we learned that people would say, well, yes, I have my first aid. But I also personally, Tanya, taught first aid for many years and taught the paramedic courses. That's my background. I'm a paramedic by trade. And so I used to teach these courses, and I knew that there was good instructors and bad instructors. And I knew there was good students and bad students. And so we would start doing skills tests. And I could tell you that, as soon as somebody would come in and I would see their skills, I knew exactly what company taught them. I mean, I could tell. And there are certain companies that we did not, if you had that on your resume, we wouldn't hire you because I didn't have time to spend to fix your skills to make you competent.
Wow.
And so when you told me that you have the skills test, I understood the value of that and what that looks like. And that quality was really important to you. Yes, we're in it to make money. I get that. But when you have high quality of people, you have less turnover, you have more income, your clients are happier, your clients spend more time with you, your clients purchase more things from you. I mean, I've purchased other things from you just besides this. I've been in your book. I've actually had you help coach me on a few things because I know your value and your belief system around quality. And for me, that is why, Diane, I chose you because I know your character and I know that the people that you have are going to be people that have the same heart and quality and value that I have. So thank you.
No, thank you.
I told you I was going to tell you you were awesome.
I didn't know we were going there, but okay, thank you. um, so what would you say, kind of bullet answer here,
Okay.
top three since having your VA, top three milestones, achievements, differences in your business, wins that you've had?
I had one online course. I now have five, and I wouldn't have been able to do that without my VA. I have been in three books, would not have been able to do that without the support of the VA for me to find time to actually do that.
Yeah.
My business has increased significantly as a consultant just for price wise. Um, what else? I have a new funnel pipeline happening, which means I can have more touch points with my clients starting in January 2025 because I understand about AI and technology, which I love. And I believe that's going to make us more human because I'm going to make sure that I'm having more touch points with my clients. And that's because of my help from my VA.
And if I can add one more for you, because you've been choosing where to spend your time um, in the right way, and you've been using your social media to have it like you're everywhere, you've won many awards.
Oh, yes.
You've won many awards this past year. I was like, another award? Is that the same award as before?
A friend,
And
I
I
know.
actually feel like that's because you're doing more trainings, you're serving more clients, and people are seeing you all over social media, that you're a constantly there. There's consistency in your brand, in your image, in your results, and you've won many awards.
True. You know what? Thank you, Diane. You forget those things that and I shouldn't devalue them because they have been significant. Top women in safety, top trainer in Canada, my CSP designation, like it's been significant. And yes, it's because of my VA. I've had the support. Otherwise, I would not be able to have done what I have accomplished this year. And on top of that, today is the day that we're doing this podcast is during a work week. So it's during a weekday. And I have the afternoon off and I am going out with a friend for lunch.
That you didn't have to
And
book 4.5 months
that
out.
didn't, but we talked about it yesterday and we're doing it today. So that's pretty
Amazing.
exciting. Yeah.
Amazing. I know we've gone over time.
Sorry.
It's just because there's so many things to ask. I've got one final main question and then just anything else you want to share. Just what advice would you give to any business owners who are considering hiring a VA?
Mm, I don't know. I feel like we've kind of accomplished it all. You know what? Here it is. This is it. Have faith. Take the step.
Hmm.
Just take the step, take action, and have faith. I think that's it because we are in a place of everything has to be perfect. And I put off doing stuff for years because I'm like, yeah, I know I need to do that. But you know what? Just take action and
Hmm.
have faith. Faith in yourself, faith in Diane's program that she's designed specifically for you, and have faith in the people, the VAs, because they really are quite extraordinary.
Thank you. Mindset and feeling that I just see way too many
Mhm.
burnt out entrepreneurs. And I know I was one of them, being on vacation in the bathroom doing work while my family's sleeping. It is not how I want to be. Having people ask my daughter, "Oh, do you want to be a business owner like your mom?" No.
Oh, oh, oh,
Why
ouch.
not? Mom works too much. So
See?
these sort of comments for me were my slap in the face. And you won an award for top trainer in safety. You didn't win an award for top social media creator or top video editor. And I have to remember the same thing for myself. Thank you for being here. Any final thing that you want to share?
No, I don't. I no. It's just been awesome. Thank you for your time and for the listener. Like you got this. You got this. You got
Hmm.
this.
Hmm. Awesome. Awesome. So if you want to hear Tanya every week on her podcast, Safety Debris, we'll make sure that the link is in the notes so you can check that out. And please know, even if you're not in her industry, she is so entertaining to listen to. And if you're having your own conference and you're like, oh, darn it, it's not a safety training conference, it's not maybe in what Tanya speaks about, please check out her website, check out what she does. There could be a topic there for you. And at the very least, you could have her be your MC. So thank you again, Tanya, for being here. Such a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, my friend. Appreciate it.
So if you're thinking of getting a VA, obviously you can come through me, Virtual Assistant Made Easy. We'll make sure the information is in the notes as well for you to check that out. Know that we have a bunch in a series right now of different podcasts about what to delegate, how to hire, or what to look for when getting a VA. And there are more episodes to come. Also, Barb Stuhlemer's interview where we talked about how having a VA is actually helping her scale her business and making it more attractive to sell it in the future. So please check out that interview as well. And until next time, stay dynamic. Bye.